this is Melissa Lane, and you're listening to the LifeKraft Podcast, where we will be bringing you new insights, awareness, and tools to create a fulfilling life. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the LifeKraft Podcast. My name is Melissa Lane and I will be your host today. Before we get started with the episode, I just want to remind you that we love hearing from you. So be sure to subscribe to this channel and leave a review of something positive that you got out of this episode. And you're more than welcome to also take a screenshot of yourself listening to this episode and find us on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook and tag us and share your journey with us. So today I want to ask you a question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? I know as a coach, this question comes up a lot. I have been studying self-development and all of those types of things for years. And everyone always asks you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I know when I started studying, it was one of the things that people asked me the whole time as well. And there was a time in my life where I really struggled to answer that question, or I would just spit out things that people would want to hear. You know, those generic things like, I want a nice house, I want a nice car, I want a family, I want all of those things, but it was never really something that I saw. I didn't see myself there. It was just things I thought I needed to have. And the key came in when I started connecting with my higher self. So what is your higher self, you might ask? If you're in the health and wellness holistic type of environment, you may have heard of people referring to their higher self. But this can sound pretty woohoo, and you might not understand what that is. So today I'm going to talk about what your higher self is, how to understand it, and how to start connecting with it, and why that question of where do you see yourselves in 5 years' time might feel really unclear now, but there is absolutely a way for you to get there and to embody who you want to be in 5 years' time. So, what is your higher self? The higher self is said to be the real self, the highest version of you when you have reached your full potential. It's also referred to your eternal spirit compared to your ego self. So if I think about that, my higher self is not busy with unforgiveness and anger and resentfulness. My higher self is calm and collected and trusting. My higher self embodies all of my potential, not just some of it. Your higher self is who you are without your trauma, without your past weighing heavily on your shoulders. I always think your higher self is that version of you that integrated the past, that integrated all of those things that happened to you instead of having it as a weight on you. So your higher self is not just in survival mode the whole time. Your higher self is calm. It feels safe on this earth. It is a presence that creates, not a presence that takes. So it's very difficult for us to start envisioning our higher selves. And I want to start with the first episode of this new season of the LifeKraft Podcast with envisioning, not just visioning, but envisioning, allowing visions to come to you. But then I realized that it's very difficult to envision if you don't know what you want to connect to, if you don't know what that higher version of yourself actually is capable of being. So, this might sound really great, but you might be sitting there thinking, Melissa, I'm thinking of that highest version of myself and I cannot get anything in mind. Obviously, I would like to feel better in my body, be calmer, feel safe in this world that we're living in, have an abundance of everything that I need. But it seems so far away. And here's why that might seem very far away. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it takes you through the basics to self-actualization. And I'm going to talk you through that so that you can understand where you are on that hierarchy of needs and then how to get to that self-actualization place, because the top of his hierarchy of needs is realizing your full potential. That is embodying your higher self. So if you understand where you are on this little scale, and this is just one modality that you can use, it really helps you to not put so much pressure on yourself to embody your highest version of yourself, but you're actually still only sorting out the basics of your life. So the first foundational part of his hierarchy of needs is the basics. The basics are food, water, and shelter. So a majority of the planet is still focused on just having the basics in their life. How can you expect someone that is only looking for the basics, they're still looking at how to create food, water, and shelter in their everyday lives? How can you expect that person to embody their higher self? They're not focused there. It's very difficult. The gap between the two is really, really big. So firstly, we need to look at that, not only in our own lives, but also in taking care of each other and the community. Try and make sure that everyone around you is at least meeting the basics. And as a whole, as a collective, as a world, we need to start taking better care of each other. And it's going to start with small groups that are really having already gone through those steps, having self-actualized, taking care of the people beneath them and beneath them and beneath them. So I want you to look at that. If you are still struggling, it's not bad. I've been there. I'm not like at the right top part of it. I've been there where basics of food, water, and shelter were my only focus in life. There was nothing else that I wanted to focus on because I didn't even have my basics. So that's okay. If that's where you are, embrace that and look at how you can get that settled in your life so that you can start moving on to the next step. And that is safety. Security and stability is the next part of this hierarchy of needs. So once your basics are met, you need to look at your security and your stability in your life. How safe do you feel in your body? How safe do you feel in your home? How safe do you feel in your community, in your country, in this world? Safety is something that we really need to look at. Gender-based violence and these types of things is running rampant. Racism and these hate crimes that are just going out against nations, and anyone that might think or look or speak or be different than you is automatically made wrong and cancelled. That is not the right way to go about life. You are not embodying your higher self if you are still focused on safety, security, and stability. So you need to look at how you can create safety within yourself, because that is the only part you play. You can play a part in wanting to change the laws and really embodying someone that takes care of other people and making people feel safe, but it all starts with you. Your safety, your security, and your stability is what you create in your life, in the environment where you have power of creation. So start looking at that. If you are feeling unsafe and not stable, it's going to be very difficult for you to think about embodying the highest version of yourself. But I'm going to teach you a bit later of how you can start doing that. But really look at going over those two basic ones, the basics, food, water, and shelter, and then safety, security, and stability. Next up on this hierarchy of needs is your relationships. A sense of belonging and a sense of love is so important for us to embody our higher selves. We are tribal. We are made for connection. And when we don't allow that, and when we don't create that in our lives, it is something that will stop us from self-actualization, from connecting to that highest version of ourselves. So look at your relationships. And here is something that I want to add. All relationships in your life are always about you. See your relationships as mirrors that might be portraying back to you certain unhealed aspects of yourself. Now, this might be a bit triggering, especially if you've been in really bad situations. It doesn't mean you're bad, and it doesn't mean that you attracted it. This world is more complex than that. It's not just you did something bad, so something bad happened to you. Not at all. But It might be an opportunity for you to learn. It might be an opportunity for you to forgive. It might be something terrible that happened to you in relationships, but you can choose to let that go and grow out of it. Or you can choose for that to be a defining moment and to stop the powerful, amazing being that you are. I've struggled in relationships my entire life. That's where I'm learning in this life. It's something that I know is part of my soul's journey, if I could put it that way. And I really try and focus on creating a great relationship with myself, with my creator, and then with my highest version of myself. And then, only after having really looked at myself, accepted myself as I am, loved myself eventually, I started looking at the relationships in my life and saying, where do I need to forgive? Where do I need to stop criticizing someone? Where am I trying to use someone to make me feel better instead of just allowing them to be themselves? Where am I holding on to someone that I actually need to let go of because they're their own person and they need to live their own life? So if you look at the relationships, where can you create a sense of belonging in yourself? And where can you start finding a sense of love in yourself? You are always loved. Your creator loves you. You are love. Where are you blocking it in your life? And where can you create more of? And that will outflow into your relationships. Next up on Maslow's hierarchy of needs is esteem. Respect for yourself and for others. And I always love his hierarchy of needs because your esteem and your respect for yourself and others comes after having a sense of belonging and love in your relationships. And so many times we have that backwards. We think that we'll respect someone and we'll have respect for ourselves if we are loved or if they are lovable. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Esteem is a step above that. You first need to look at your relationships and then you can look at your esteem, the respect that you have. So I want to challenge you today. Look at the respect that you have for others and look at the respect that you have for yourself. How are you taking care of your vessel? How are you taking care of your body? What thoughts do you allow in your mind? What do you say about yourself? What do you say about others? Are you walking around just judging and criticizing everything in this world? Are you canceling people? Are you trying to control people and manipulate them when they don't want to act the way that you want them to act, or if they make you feel uncomfortable by being themselves? Really dig deep. That's how you grow. That's how you get to the highest version of you, being so radically honest with yourself. And I promise you, when you start looking at the respect that you're giving yourself, are you showing up for yourself? Are you doing the task that you said you'll do? Are you keeping small promises to yourself daily? That will flow out into having respect for other people. And listen to this. Respect is not just saying, I'm going to have respect for you, so I'm just going to allow every freaking toxic person and every Jan Rapp en sy maat into my life. Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. But respect is something that comes within you and that flows out to someone else. It's not about how they behave. It's about who you are and how you choose to step into this world, how you choose to interact with someone. So having esteem, having respect for self and for others is just below self-actualization. And that's where we got next. Self-actualization is the tip of the pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that is realizing your full potential. In other modalities, they call that your highest version of yourself. So, if you understand that hierarchy of needs, you can see where you still have a couple of things to work on. The higher you move up in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the easier it is for you to connect to that highest version of yourself. And if you might be expecting people in your life to step into the highest versions of themselves, really have some compassion and see, where are they on this scale? Maybe they're still struggling with the basics, food, water, and shelter. Maybe it's a time in their lives when they are lacking a sense of belonging and love. And you can have compassion because they might not be able to see their full potential. They might not be able to act with the grace they could, with the stability that they could. They might not be able to embody that yet because they're still sorting out the rest. But there are ways to move up this hierarchy of needs a little quicker. So here are a couple of tips that I've used in my life to go through those stages a little faster and not get stuck in one for too long. How to connect with our higher selves is one of the greatest questions I think we can ask, because when you have that picture in your mind, you have something to head towards. It's like having a dartboard and you actually have something to aim at when you throw. That's what it is to have your highest version of yourself really in your mind, in your heart, and in your body. So start with the basics. That's number one. The basics are that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Take care of your food, your water, your shelter. Give yourself the best that you can. Make sure that you feel safe in your body. Look at working on trauma responses, strengthening your nervous system, all of those types of things. If you need help with it, get a health coach or go and see a therapist that can help you start creating safety in your everyday lives, and then act as an amazing part in your community where you can show up, be there, really take care of your tribe, take care of your country, take care of the world we live in. That is going to help you when it comes to the basics. Then go on to the relationships and all of the rest. Second, meditate. Meditation is a great tool to not only quiet your mind, but to allow what is inside of you to come into the forefront of your mind. So a lot of times we'll suppress those really genius ideas, those amazing thoughts and sparks of insight that we might get. And that's your higher self communicating to you, saying, call that person, write that book. You need to move. This relationship is not going anywhere. You need to have a chat. Forgive that person, whatever it is. When you have a regular meditation practice, not only does it lower the stress hormones in your body, so that takes you out of ego, but it also helps regulate your nervous system. It helps oxygenate your body so your frontal lobe and your brain is working and firing and wiring better. So on a physical level, it really helps. But on a mental and a spiritual level, I think there is an amazing power in silence. Allowing you to just sit there and just be with yourself for 10 to 20 minutes a day. Making that time, taking that time for yourself, and just being with you. It's very powerful, and that will help you connect to your higher self. Next up, strengthening your intuition. So where does your intuition lie, you might wonder? Your intuition might sound very airy-fairy, but it's actually in your body. Your body is communicating with you the whole time. So if you connect to your intuition, that basically means connecting to your body's cues. So as a health coach, I absolutely love encouraging people to do this, because the stronger your intuition is, the more you can go through life with ease and with flow. You'll be able to feel the subtle nuances that your body is picking up in regards to your environment, which will keep you safe, in regards to your relationships, which will help strengthen them, and in regards to the more energetic aspects of this world. Subtleties that you'll be able to pick up through your body. And if you strengthen that intuitive thing in your body of actually listening when it says, I don't want to go around that corner. I'm hungry. I think we need to rest. Small things like that will strengthen your intuition. Next up, connecting with your heart. I know when I did a workshop on embodying your feminine energy, this was the meditation that I wanted people to do. And it's so easy to connect with your heart. Your heart is a fascinating, fascinating organ. And it's got an energetic field that just goes out for miles. I'm not even kidding. Your heartbeat is so powerful. And your heart also has cells that have memory in them. And I think I have to do a little podcast episodes in regards to the heart and how to connect with that. So if you guys want that, drop a comment and let me know. But Connecting with your heart can be as easy as putting your hand on your chest where your heart is, closing your eyes, and focusing in on your heart, and focusing in on your heartbeat. So much of the time, we live from the neck up, and we're not connected to the rest of our body. If you put your hand on your heart, and you really focus on feeling your heartbeat, focusing in on your heart, it's an amazing, amazing way to connect to that highest version of you, who you really are, your full potential that is realized. So it's a little practice that you can do. Do it for a minute. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, put your hand on your heart. Just focus in on your heart. You'll feel the difference. And what I always suggest to people is, if you want to do things like forgiveness work, or if you want some clarity, or if you want to know what to say to someone in your life, and you're really connected through love and through care and all of those things with them, do this practice. Put your hand on your heart for a minute. Think of that person. See them in your mind's eye. And ask the question of, how can you better serve them? How can you be there for them? What do you need to say to them? How can you forgive them? And that is embodying and allowing your highest self to come through. Connecting with your heart is life-changing. I promise you that. Next up, nature. I want to encourage you to spend more time in nature. Nature is so healing, not only on a biological level, but on a mental level as well as a spiritual level. We come from nature. We are part of nature. We need to stop demonizing nature. Stop wanting to kill every hoja in your house. I promise you, when you start connecting with nature, you will feel the difference. And when you can connect to nature in a quiet space, even better. Sitting and meditating outside, waking up and watching the sunrise, having more fun activities with your loved ones and with your family and friends, out in nature, go for hikes, go to the beach, go swimming, do those types of things. And you'll start feeling that highest version of you is present then. The things that the ego make really big might not be as important when you're in nature. You'll want to forgive quicker. You'll want to feel more love. You'll want to create more. You'll want to have more fun. And then sometimes you'll get the spark of, we make too much of all of this. Everything was actually supposed to be enjoyed. And I want that for you. So spend more time in nature to connect to your higher self. And then lastly, and this is really important, don't use your thoughts and words against yourself. I want you to start becoming really aware of the thoughts and the words that you use. And I say use because every thought and every word goes forth from you and creates. And your emotions attract towards you the things that you experience in life. So that might be like, what, Melissa, what are you talking about? But thoughts and words have this creative energy that just make things into being. And the thoughts you use over and over again in your mind and the words you use over and over again in your mind, you'll start seeing the effects of them in your life. I am not good enough. I don't deserve love. It's difficult to have a healthy, happy body. Relationships are hard. Men are terrible. Women are this and that. All of those types of things, thoughts, words that you use, they will start becoming real in your life. So I want to encourage you to do this exercise. It absolutely changed my life, and I still use it to this day because I'm far from perfect and I still fall back into the old habits and the things that are not my highest version. I want you to, for a day, preferably for a week, be very aware of the words you're using at that moment and the thoughts that you're thinking at a moment. Do it like 5 to 7 times throughout the day. And ask yourself this: if the world around me just said yes, would I want what I was thinking or speaking? If the world around me just said, yes, Melissa, you are not good enough, and here are all the reasons why you're not good enough, would you want that? Or would you want to say something like, I am worthy, I was born worthy, so that life will say, yes, you are worthy. You were born worthy. And this is why. It's such a powerful practice, and it's got this really magnetic energy about it that if you do that for a while and if you fall back on that exercise, life will show you that what you are thinking and what you are saying is really, really important. And when you start using your words not against you, but for you, you will start connecting with your highest version of yourself. And life gets good from there. So you might be thinking, Melissa, why do I want to connect to my highest self? I'm barely getting through life. It's tough. I'm right at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I just want to leave you with this. Life is a journey. It is supposed to be fun. We are supposed to have joyful expansion, but it's still a polarity planet with a bunch of contrasts that we are going to feel. And it can help us grow or it can stop us. But it's always nice to, instead of working towards a goal, having something pull you forward. It makes life a hell of a lot easier when you have a highest version of you just embodied, that you can think about, that you can aim for, and that you can allow to make a few more decisions in your life, that you can allow to blossom, that you can allow to speak more often, to think more often. It's so powerful because a lot of times everything that we are and everything that we think we know is just what we've been through. It's like they say in the 12-step program, your best thinking got you here. And today I want to encourage you to maybe start giving that over to your fully realized, full potential version of yourself. I hope that you got something out of this episode, and I so enjoyed recording this for you. I would love to know your thoughts. So find me on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook at Melissa Lane Wellness. And I'd love to connect with you. The links will also be in the show notes. And have a beautiful day. And remember that you can enjoy your everyday life. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to share your takeaway or something you heard that motivated or inspired you, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and tag at the LifeKraft on Instagram. Also, feel free to let us know who you'd like to see appear on this show in future. We enjoy bringing you interviews from experts and everyday people so that they can talk about their experiences and share information, tips, and what has worked for them on their journey towards a better life. However, remember that the opinions or advice of our guests and myself, the host, should not be taken as personal, actionable advice and is given as general information and education only. Please always remember to consult a qualified professional before implementing any medical, financial, legal, or other advice that you believe might work for you. LifeKraft is not responsible nor liable for your decision when implementing anything you hear on the podcast. Please listen and act responsibly. The opinions of our guests do not represent the opinions or views of LifeKraft or Melissa Lane personally and are meant as information and general education only. Education only. Education only.